Today we're gonna be here on Google Earth looking around in the former Soviet Union after abandoned gulag towns built because Stalin decided to do goofy stuff against his population like he tends to do. These towns were built in some of the harshest climates and out in the middle of nowhere in Siberia, so this is gonna be crazy. Every single location we're gonna be looking at is just gonna get even more remote and insane. Not only were they built in remote places, but then they also got abandoned later on and just disappeared out of nowhere, just like your dad did when he said he was just gonna buy milk. But anyway, let's begin looking at the first town called Kalmeryu or whatever. I don't care. I pronounced it perfect pronunciation of Kalmeryu. The reason why I picked this guy first is because it's probably the least interesting one, because there's not a lot of, like, you can't see anything here in the area at all. I already looked here before. Look, there is no street view. I can't see anything. There's no images of this location at all in Google Earth, so zero information. I mean, you can see just from the satellite how collapsed these buildings are, to be fair. Like, you can see kind of like the shape of where the buildings used to be, and man, there was quite a lot of them here. Probably the mine shaft was originally. I think this was a coal mining town, and it's just like squeezed here in between the nets, and I forgot what this is called, but I know this is like the Yamnala Peninsula or something like that, right? Here you can see the borders of this massive republic called Komi Republic. But this is where most people live, but up here we have the massive gulag and mining city called Vorkuta, and that's not interesting. That's not what we're gonna cover today, because right north of it, this is where Kalmeryu is located, so it's kind of similar. Vorkuta, on the other hand, isn't abandoned, but I mean, since there's really no pictures in Kalmeryu in Street View, I think let's maybe try to look around a little bit here in the area so you can kind of get the vibe of how it looks like. Oh look, here's 3 views down here. Let's see what is up here. Okay, what is this, bro? What? I'm inside of like an excavator. Is that what it's called in English? There we have the Russian dude chilling. It kind of looked just like I expected. There's zero vegetation here. It's just pure tundra everywhere. There were some couple more pictures here. Probably the same guy here. Yeah, right next to him. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the same Russian dude. Let's see what goes on here. Oh, look. Looks like some type of like gas pipe, because I mean there's probably a lot of gas and oil being extracted there. And here we have a smiling, happy Russian dude working his job. Man, he's working on the pipe. Let's go. Man's grinding, and he has like that Russian hat even. All right, let's look at again. Okay, we got a car. Oh, okay, that's a big boy. A lot of big vehicles. They got the Russian dudes chilling here. I mean, just look at the terrain. It's just so flat here. Just endless tundra and these massive machines. Imagine how hard working up here must be. And barely anyone lives here. I mean, we could... Oh man, here's someone who has been walking around in the mountains. So let's see how it looks like in this area right next to it. Okay, what in the world? Oh, we're in some type of like tower. It does look very rusty and destroyed, man. The river is really nice. You could probably catch really good fish here. I expect, like, fly fishing in that river looks really good. Man, there's just nothing. Everything's just abandoned. What is going on in that location? Kalmeryu is located just west of the Urals. Man, look how beautiful this tundra is. This looks like northern Alaska or something like that. It's just super beautiful terrain, this actually. I mean, this area is nice. It's just like, if you avoid the towns, the nature here is really beautiful. Yo, this is really beautiful. What? Man, I mean, this doesn't look too bad. It looks like somewhere in northern Scandinavia almost. Very rocky. There are actually street view in this area. Okay, let's check out this town here, which probably should be in a similar style to what... yeah, this is definitely in a similar style to Kalmeryu. Yeah, this building even looks abandoned. It doesn't look like anyone lives here. Look at the windows, are all broken. This town supposedly people live in, but I wouldn't surprise me if most of the buildings are empty. From the sky, this still looks kind of inhabited. I mean, I'm not sure though. There's no information about this town. You got, I mean, they got cars that look, you know, in shape, but yeah, this area does not look like the best one. I mean, just look at this. You can see the concrete just sticking out of the building. That is what it looks like. I mean, if it looks this bad in the area where people actually live, I can't even imagine how bad it must look like in Kalmeryu. Anyway, I think we're gonna now go on to maybe Wikipedia and try to like read up some lore about Kalmeryu, because here on Google Earth there's no information about this place at all. It was a coal mining town and it was administrated by Vorkuta. As I stated, Vorkuta was right next to it. And yeah, this is the first picture we get to see of what it looks like. I mean, it looks, it doesn't look too bad. Not it could have been worse, guys. It's not. Okay, yeah, it's pretty, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Coal in the area was discovered in the early 1940s and industrial mining started in 1957. In 1993, it was decided to shut down mining operations and the settlement stopped entirely in 1995. And the last inhabitants had to be forcefully removed. Forcefully removed? What? I mean, to be fair, if I lived here as well, someone would have to literally drag me out. Like, I would... Like, this looks like the best place on earth. Imagine having to be forced to leave this place. Why would you ever want to do that? It looks amazing, guys. But I'm surprised that it was just abandoned in the late 90s. Like, this looks way more like destroyed than just like over like 20 years. In the early 2000s, it became part of military proving ground. Oh, so like test grounds for the military. Pemboy. Oh man, a Pemboy, yeah, it says Pemboy. I read that quickly and it said Femboy and I was like, hold up, pause. What is the Russian military doing? Why are they naming their military testing grounds Femboy? Okay, Pemboy makes a lot more sense. My bad. Apparently the meaning in the next language, it means river in the Death Valley. Come on, bro. I thought it would be something wholesome, but like, bro, come on, guys. Can we just like name things wholesomely for once? Can we? Why do we have to call it River in the Death Valley? That is crazy. Why would anyone want to move to a place called a River in the Death Valley? Why would you name a location that if you want people to move there? To be fair, people didn't want to move there. They were forced to move there because this was like... Probably, it says it was a mining town. It says coal mining town. It doesn't actually say anything about this being a gulag, I think. Is there anything? It doesn't say anything. But here's the thing. Vorkuta was a gulag and this is right next to Vorkuta. So my suspicions is that this was probably a gulag as well. Like, come on, bro. I get it. Like, you want to have a job and like do coal mining. But come on. No one is so desperate to get a coal mining job that they would willingly move up here. This is definitely a gulag. Okay, here's some more photos of what Kalmar looks like. I mean... Yeah, he looks pretty abandoned to me, don't you think? He looks pretty abandoned. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the next location called Alykel, which is right next to an area which I've already looked at quite a lot. Right next to it is the place called Norilsk, which is a very big town up here in the far north of Russia. Mining town, one of the most polluted areas in the entire world. And right next to it, we got Alykel, which kinda used to be, it's a smaller mining town right next to it, which has now been abandoned because basically, Norilsk as a mining town is more profitable. There's no point in having this over here. But I don't think there's any street view here at all. Like, there's barely... I tried to look up information about Alykel. There's not even a Wikipedia page about this place. I can't find any information about this place. Oh, look, there is actually some photos. This is what it looks like on Google Earth. And yeah, you might think, oh, that looks pretty good, but the interesting thing, the only thing that shows up when you search for Alykel is this, like the airport, right? So right down behind it is this Norilsk Airport, also known as, I think they also call it Alykel Airport as well. It's like, it's the same thing, but anyway, they have their airport down here, and then Alykel is here, the actual town called that, but it's completely abandoned now. Yeah, I mean, these are the same like blocks which we looked at from Google Earth. I mean, they look pretty similar. Yeah, this is how it looks like. Okay, since we didn't find that many images of Alykel, I did actually find a video on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a map out of some like zombie shooter video game. Dude, I don't have time for this. I can't watch this in regular speed. It's too slow. My dopamine receptors are like frying me. I've watched too much Instagram Reels lately. Okay, the railroad seems to still be in use. I mean, to be fair, this is like in between places which are actually still in use, like Norilsk. I mean, just look at that building. That's the building we saw in the pictures. The sad thing about this is just like, they didn't even like bother to like try to remove anything. They just like left everything, and everything is just laying there, polluting the nature. It's just like... That's the worst thing about this. Just look at like the vegetation. The vegetation here is zero. It's just bush on the ground. There's not a single tree in sight. That's crazy. You can see all the like the equipment probably used in the mining. Yeah. Oh man, that's weird. That's weird to see. Look at that. They actually seem, at least the second one seems like it still could be used. Some swings children used to play with at one point. That's crazy. Now we're gonna be looking at the craziest location yet on this list. We're gonna head away all the way out in the far east of Siberia, out here to the Magdan Oblast here. We got the city of Magdan here. We got the Road of Bones that goes all the way from Magdan up to Susuman, which was built by Gulag prisoners through extreme harsh terrain. And here, right next to the Road of Bones, or the road called R504 we made a video on before, we got this. We got the old town of Kadyshkan or Kadykhan. Like, I don't know how to pronounce this. This is a native name, so it's not even Russian. I'm pretty okay at pronouncing Russian actually, but this, nah, I can't. This and those, like, Nanette's impossible. Like, you can see even the roads are still marked. That's crazy. Do you see it? The roads are still marked even in Street View, though you can't. I don't think you can actually see anything in Street View. No, you can't. The reason why the roads are still marked, I think, is because this town, you know, it was actually pretty recently this was abandoned. I think this was fully abandoned in 2005. It was completely abandoned, though most of its population dropped down directly after the Soviet Union collapsed in the 90s. And you know, you see it's right next to the main road, pretty accessible. You can drive technically all the way from Moscow to this location. Znamenity Dvor. I don't know what that means. Oh, we got some pictures of this area. Oh man, it looks pretty similar to the other place, but you can see there's actually some cars that can drive around up here. Yeah, it looks kinda, yeah, I mean it looks, oh me, you see all the old cars, probably some old Ladas laying there. The houses and everything, man. Oh, wait, what's that? Look, there's a, I think that's supposed to be a reindeer mural. I mean, it looks pretty cool actually. It also looks like some type of zombie map. Kadyskangrad. And here we got some, man, and also we got some old children's playground, man. Looks kind of creepy, not gonna lie, in this picture. Oh, what? The nature is actually pretty beautiful though, that's not bad. And here, it says Skola, that means school. So this is the old school in this place. Yeah, it looks pretty typical for the Soviet Union. It's sad that I can't see any Street View. It feels like this would be a very easy location to make Google Street View in, because I know you can probably see, is there Street View here on the road? There probably is, right? Yeah, there is Street View here. Let's see if we can see the sign where you drive into this location here, because here's where you drive in. Nope, there's not even a sign going in here. Man, it's looking... This is a pretty cool looking location otherwise, with like the tundra and the forest and everything. Looks pretty similar to like northern Sweden actually. If they even skip that, it's just completely barren. Yeah, here's a road in, it's just so overgrown, man. There must be a sign or something up here, like come on. Let's go up here. Like this looks a lot like northern Sweden actually. Yeah, here's a sign. Okay, I think I found the sign. So the place is called Kadykhan, that in like Latin alphabet. I don't know how it actually is pronounced because this isn't even Russian pronunciation. This is native pronunciation. And I find a sign right here and it says Kadykhan. Yeah, this is it. This is it in Russian. Kadykhan, okay? So now we're entering Kadykhan. Wait, why can't I move further? I can't move further. Wait, let's see if I can. Wait, yeah, the road stops here. Oh man, I think it might be so that this bridge, you see it right here, is either newly made after the Google Earth car went here, or maybe this bridge is no longer in use, so they have removed it. Oh yeah, look at this, look at this. There's a road here on the map which goes all in, but if you look at, actually zoom in, there is no road here. Can we see the bridge? Yeah, there says Kadykhan. And here comes the road. It looks like the bridge maybe isn't in use or something. Like, why is there a road coming here through the forest, like going around the bridge? Like, almost like you try to avoid it. That's a bit weird. So I've read up some of the lore of Kadykhan. So basically this was, like many of the other places on this list, it was a gulag town built during World War II. And it was a coal mining town. That's why it was made. People were forcefully placed here to mine coal. And it continued until the 90s when this was abandoned, obviously. But some, work was still going on until 2005. At first, one of the mines were closed, which led to a lot of people moving out. But then also in 1996, the second mine also closed after a disaster where the mine blew up and destroyed a major building and killed 6 people. Which basically made that the government said, nope, we're closing this down. When it is too dangerous. and the people living here, they got subsidized, meaning they got like, it's cheaper to move out of here, and yeah, everyone moved out of the location. Now it is just standing completely abandoned here in the middle of like the far east of Siberia. I mean, just look where we are. We're like in the middle of like the far east, man. This is crazy. And imagine being like sent all the way here during World War II. There were so many people, like Polish people, Germans and Balts, and also, you know, Russians who had criticized Stalin. They were sent all the way from this part of the world through the Trans-Siberian Railway all the way here, and then they never got to return home. And here you can see the population evolution. I'm surprised the population went up so much in 1986 compared to 1970, but they peaked at 10,000 people used to live in this location, and now 0 people live here. In 2007, 227 still lived here. So I mean, people lived here for not that long ago. I mean, 2007, that's not too long ago actually, and now it's just empty, man. Man, this is how it looked like in its peak. That looks pretty good actually. This is like probably early 2007 or something, when it still wasn't a band. This looks good. Okay, this maybe doesn't look too good. Maybe a bit older photos. Nah, yeah, now it's starting to decay. This is look. This looks like an old Lenin statue. Yeah, another old Soviet star. And now we're gonna look at the final craziest location, abandoned town in all of in this video, called Lultin, which is also a native name for a location up here. Yep, this is what I'm talking about. Just look at the location. We were last time here in Magdan, and the other places were here like in Western Russia, but this is just like such an insanely far away location. Imagine being sent here, because this was also, just like all the other places, a gulag. And we zoom in here enough and we see the place. There's even a road here, surprisingly. Where does this road lead? I'm actually kind of curious. What is it connected to? Is it the mine, or you can't? Here's a little house. Man, I'm so surprised there actually even is roads up here. But I don't know if do they lead anything? Is there like a port up here in the north? Here is some type of port. Maybe? No. Here's a port, right? Nope. There's no ports. Wait. I found the airport. Yep, here's an airport. This area, I read about it. It's so isolated that, you know, people that were sent here had such a hard time surviving, because, you know, in the beginning, you see here, it's actually an airport. It says there's an airport. Originally, they couldn't even ship here things via plane. They shipped things via like sled and different type of terrain, cars and stuff, from really far off distances from the nearest areas. So getting supply here was absolutely horrible. Initially, only 73 people lived here in Yultin or Lultin or whatever its location is. It's a native name, and it's named after the tallest mountain in this area. Just like all the other places on this list, this was a mining town, I think, for tin and maybe nickel. There's 0 street view. I don't think there's any pictures of what it looks like, right? Its population peaked right before the collapse of the Soviet Union, when it just completely dropped. At 5,300 people lived out here in the middle of nowhere. And as I said, it was a tin mine, but also tungsten. I said wrong, I said nickel. Nope, it was tungsten. And yeah, it was a gulag, because who would else want to live here except if they were forced to? And this is the crazy part, because it was so far off. They had to transport things for 400 kilometers in order to get supply here. That is absolutely insane. And also considering the terrain, they had to do it through the Arctic. This is just like a next level. Only 73 people lived here initially, and they had to live in like small tents and plywood houses. They just sat together. Imagine just like having to survive in this terrain. That's just crazy. Apparently they did realize that this type of supply and logistics was just so insanely unprofitable. So they just went out, the prisoners, and constructed a port. Okay, so there's Luton, and then you go down, and here we got Egvekinot. Okay, this place actually seems like it is inhabited. So this way they could actually get supply all the way up there. See, there's a road going here. Probably going all the way if we follow the road. Man, that is crazy. I was looking down there just quickly, being like, oh yeah, it's not that far. It's still super far. This is the closest port, which is supposed to supply this place up here. Let's look at the distance down here. It is almost 200 kilometers, just like it said on Wikipedia, 200 kilometers down. in order to get to this port city. That is absolutely a crazy journey to get up here. Lultin was a key element of the Shukotkan, which this area is basically in Russia called Chukotka. The port of Egvekinot provided means to transport tin and tungsten mined in Lutin to the wider world. But in 1995 this area was started to get abandoned because simply it wasn't profitable anymore to mine in this location, because I mean it is just so far away. It kind of makes sense that where it peaked in 1989 at 5,300 people, which is just insane that it lived so many people at this location. And in 2002 it was abandoned, 0 people lived there. Man, it even says that a number of these individuals refused to leave the settlement for a number of years, and they survived by just like fishing and eating berries in the area. Man, that is crazy. Like, imagine being so nostalgic and like home loving that even you would like to like remain in this area. That's crazy. I mean, their flag, to be fair, is pretty cool looking. And now I got really interested to maybe look a little bit here in the area and see what's like. Here is the road going from Egviknot up to Yultin. This is like the mining road. Here is where to get mined, here to where it gets shipped. Let's see if there's any street view in this area at all. Is there any street view, please? Anything? No? There's 0 street view, not even in the major city down here. What place? Okay, this is what it looks like from the side. Pretty typical, like Arctic looking town. Looks pretty okay actually, not too bad. Okay, now it looks a little bit bad. Man, they have a church here in the middle. It looks pretty good. And some type of monument about the city and a helicopter station. Here's the church from the outside. Looks pretty good actually. And the boats, man, they got dripped out boats here actually. Man, that is incredible. This is by far the coolest location I've seen in this video. And if you think so as well, make sure to like the video and check out another one on this channel, because more awesome content is on its way. I'll see you in the next one.